My name is Annie Kidder, and I am the executive director of an organization called People for Education. We've been around for 25 years in Ontario, Canada, advocating for public education, doing research, providing evidence to have a big conversation about how important education is to all of us. I don't think there is one short way to describe how families can be effective. I think the first thing is to recognize, mostly I'm an expert because I had teenagers, to recognize that it's actually hard. And I think that often we get told, if you just do this, this will happen. So I think the biggest thing, my biggest advice, is you're not allowed to give up. It is really hard and you can't give up. And that it's trying to be willing to be there for that. Being a parent can be very challenging. Being a parent of teenagers is especially challenging. But what you don't have to do is be their teacher, is do their homework, is be an expert in education. You just have to try to be as expert as you can be in being a parent. So even if your child is saying they hate you and they don't want to listen to you, they actually kind of do. That was always the part that confused me as a parent. We did a lot of research into looking at, what are the most important things that parents can do to support their kids in school. And what was most interesting to us was that very little of it was about school. It wasn't about helping with homework, wasn't about doing their homework for them. It wasn't about nagging them about what they should be doing. It was much more just about the core capacities that are about being a parent. So letting your children know that you do expect them to care about school and to try in school, just as you expect them to care about other people and life and try in life. It is important to talk to them about school or talk to them in general. The research shows it's what you're doing at home as a parent that makes the biggest difference, and that we not label participation just in one way, the participation we can see at school. We have to expand our idea of what participation is and recognize that there's lots of participation that you may not see from a school perspective, but that makes a difference. And even acknowledging to parents, you may not have time to come into the school, you may not have time to come to a meeting, but the things that you're doing at home matter. They do make a difference. Now, on the other hand, it is important to try to find ways to listen to parents, to understand that parents are all different. They have different backgrounds. They have different feelings about school. They may have had a terrible experience of school too. To me, the first thing is not asking parents to do more. I went once to a session that was full of very well-meaning social workers and teachers and principals, telling parents all the things they should be doing. And these were parents of very troubled kids. And I was a very privileged white, person there. And we heard all of these things we should be doing. And I finally stood up at the end and went, I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel terrible now, because I felt like lots of those things I couldn't do. The biggest thing about all the research we did was that it crossed socioeconomic lines. It wasn't, certain parents have more capacity, thus their children are more likely to do well. That part's true because of intergenerational cycles. But the caring about school, having high expectations, trying to instill some work habits, that made a difference across all socioeconomic, racial, everything lines. So, and it's not easy. None of those things are easy, but they're kind of doable from a system perspective. But as an advocate, we also have to really care that our schools have the resources they need. Teachers have the time that they need. Teachers are supported to do the work it takes to send that email to a parent, that they feel there's kind of breathing room. And if there isn't any breathing room in the system, this is a policy issue, then for teachers, it just becomes this awful hard thing they have to do on the side. If you're already struggling, school looks like a place where you just get in trouble and people yell at you for what you're not doing right. So finding, the fabulous woman who's cleaning the halls, who's always been so nice to you, anybody at school, to be there to be on your side. Because I think that it's also lonely sometimes being a teenager at that age. And the world does look big and scary. And it's hard to, they don't want to sit around and share their feelings with their parents necessarily. So trying to ask, is there somebody at school? And going to the school and asking, what's here? Is there anybody here? Are there programs here? Are there programs outside of school? It's like laying the table. I'm not going to make you eat it all, but I'm going to show you there are some other supports out there.